They buried her record, stripped her of rank, declared Ruth Callahan dead to protect their reputation. To Colonel James Cross, she was just another casualty of politics. They thought she'd vanish. What they didn't know was that Ruth never stopped serving, never stopped saving. 32 lives rescued from the shadows, each one a quiet rebellion. Now her voice echoes through secure channels. Her ghost shatters command rooms. Stick around. The woman they erased just became the legend that might erase them. Justice has a new name, Callahan. Share your location and the time you're watching this in the comments section. Hit subscribe so you never miss an upload. Officer James Cross straightens his collar, the eagle insignia catching the harsh fluorescent light of his private office. His fingers hover over the keyboard, each keystroke another nail in Ruth Callahan's coffin. The morning's intelligence briefings scatter across his desk like fallen leaves, each page a testament to his growing unease. "Sir, there's another report from Firebase Delta." Lieutenant Chen's voice crackles through the intercom. "Unauthorized assistance to Alpha Team during their extraction. Same signature as before." James Cross minimizes the incident report, he's fabricating, his jaw tightening. He remembers teaching Ruth those exact tactical patterns during her training. The precise timing, the shadow support that leaves no trace except saved lives. His hands betray the slightest tremor as he reaches for his coffee, now cold and bitter. How many he asks, though he already knows the answer. 7 more soldiers, sir. That makes 32 in the past month alone. The number hits him like a physical blow. 32 lives saved by the operative he condemned to non-existence. The same operative whose service record he's systematically erasing, whose medals gather dust in his bottom drawer, whose face he sees in every shadow. His computer chimes with another alert. Facial recognition hits from surveillance cameras near Firebase Echo. The timestamp matches perfectly with last night's rescue operation. The algorithm is certain 97% match for Ruth Callahan, his protege, his sacrifice to the gods of political expediency. Colonel James Cross stands walking to the window overlooking the parade ground. Below, fresh recruits march in perfect formation, their boots striking the pavement in unified purpose. He remembers standing before them 3 months ago, announcing Ruth's tragic death in the line of duty. The lies had flowed smoothly, then each word carefully chosen to protect the institution he serves. But now as he returns to his desk and opens the classified archives, doubt gnaws at his certainty. Every redacted document bears his digital signature, every altered report carries his authority. The weight of the eagle insignia seems to double, pressing against his collar like an accusation. His phone buzzes, a message from General Harrison. Status of the Callahan situation. James Cross's fingers hover over the keypad. Before he can respond, another report flashes across his screen. 2 more soldiers extracted from an ambush near the Pakistani border. No casualties. No official support recorded. Just another ghost operation with Ruth's fingerprints all over it. The colonel opens his bottom drawer, removing a small box. Inside, Ruth's Distinguished Service Cross lies nestled in velvet, the medal he never had the chance to present. For exceptional valor in combat operations, the citation reads. He traces the words with his finger, remembering the day he first recognized her potential. "We protect our own," he had told her during training. "The mission comes first, but we never abandon our people." The irony tastes like ash in his mouth. His computer chirps again. Another facial recognition hit, this time from a forward operating base in Kandahar. The surveillance photo is grainy, but he'd know that silhouette anywhere. Ruth moving through the shadows, still wearing the tactical gear he helped design for her unit. Internal review wants answers. The Pentagon demands explanations. Every saved soldier is a question mark, every successful ghost extraction, a thread that could unravel the carefully constructed narrative of Operation Flint Echo's failure. Colonel James Cross opens his personal safe, removing a thick file marked Echo Contingency. Inside, carefully preserved, are the real after-action reports, the ones showing Ruth's warning about the operation's flaws, her detailed analysis of the intelligence gaps, her proposed alternatives. All dismissed, all buried, all bearing his signature of rejection. The weight of bureaucratic betrayal settles deeper in his chest as he studies the documents. Each promotion in his service record, each commendation on his wall. How many were built on buried truths like hers? How many careers sacrificed on the altar of institutional preservation? His eagle insignia catches the light again, and for a moment he sees it for what it truly is, not a symbol of authority, but a marker of compromise. Every rescue Ruth conducts is a reminder of the system's failure, his failure, to protect its own. "Sir," Lieutenant Chen's voice interrupts his reflection. "General Harrison is asking for an immediate update on the containment protocols." Colonel James Cross straightens in his chair, adjusting his insignia with practiced precision. But the metal feels different now, contaminated by the weight of truth he's tried so hard to bury. Have you ever watched your carefully constructed world begin to crack? Drop a 1 in the comments if you felt the weight of buried truths. The afternoon sun slants through his office window, casting long shadows across the medals and certificates on his wall. Each one seems to mock him now, their polished surfaces reflecting not achievement, but the cost of institutional loyalty. And somewhere out there, Ruth Callahan continues her mission. Not for glory or recognition, but for the simple truth he taught her and then betrayed. We protect our own. The eagle insignia grows heavier with each passing hour. Colonel James Cross stands before the wall of surveillance monitors, his eagle insignia catching fluorescent light as his fingers trace the familiar weight of the metal that once symbolized unquestioned authority. The mechanical whir of rotating cameras fills his office, a sound that used to comfort him, but now sets his teeth on edge. Every screen shows another angle of Dry Mark Hollow, and on each one evidence of Ruth's invisible hand mocks his decision to erase her. The footage plays with crystal clarity, a squad of young soldiers pinned down by insurgent fire, suddenly receiving precise intel about enemy positions. A mysterious supply drop exactly where it's needed. A perfectly timed warning about an IED, all bearing Ruth's trademark efficiency, her phantom signature that he recognizes from thousands of successful operations. Colonel James Cross adjusts his collar, trying to silence the whispers of doubt that grow louder with each new report. His hand trembles slightly as he opens another file marked Unexplained Asset Intervention, Priority Review. Inside, more incidents, more lives saved, more proof that the operative he betrayed continues serving with unwavering loyalty. "Sir," his aide's voice crackles through the intercom. "General Morrison requests an update on the Dry Mark Hollow anomalies." Colonel James Cross feels his throat tighten. "Tell him the investigation is ongoing." The lie tastes bitter. He knows exactly what's happening, who's happening, but admitting it would mean facing his own betrayal. The security feed switches to live footage of the mess hall, where junior officers huddle over their meals, talking in excited whispers. Colonel James Cross increases the audio feed, his stomach churning, as he catches fragments of their conversation. "Did you hear about Echo Teams swear they had a guardian angel out there? Someone's watching over us, man. Brass says she doesn't exist, but..." Colonel James Cross silences the feed, but can't silence his growing unease. The system he's dedicated his life to defending suddenly feels brittle, its foundations cracking under the weight of Ruth's continued loyalty. He reaches for his eagle insignia, no longer drawing strength from its familiar contours. A notification pings on his screen. Another successful intervention. Another squad saved, another piece of evidence that Ruth Callahan's dedication to the mission transcends his attempt to erase her existence. The mechanical click of the security cameras seems to grow louder, each sound an accusation. Type Guardian. If you believe in invisible heroes, the story whispers to its viewers as Colonel James Cross sinks into his chair, surrounded by proof that his power to shape reality is an illusion. His private terminal blinks with an incoming message. "Watch your back, old friend. Your guardian angel isn't the only one who knows the truth about Operation Flint Echo." Colonel James Cross stares at his reflection in the darkened monitor, the eagle insignia now feeling like a dead weight on his chest. In trying to maintain control by erasing Ruth Callahan, he's instead created an unkillable legend. And legends, he's beginning to realize, have a way of destroying the very systems that tried to suppress them. The cameras continue their relentless rotation, recording the moment a man's certainty crumbles in the face of undeniable truth. Colonel James Cross opens his drawer, places his eagle insignia inside, and for the first time since Operation Flint Echo, allows himself to question everything he's believed in. Colonel James Cross sits at his desk, the weight of command pressing down on his shoulders like lead armor. The eagle insignia that once represented everything he believed in now feels cold and accusatory in his trembling hands. He places it deliberately next to Ruth Callahan's original service record, the crisp pages a stark contrast to the classified documents detailing her erasure that he personally signed. The distant thrum of helicopter rotors drifts through his office window, a sound that once symbolized authority, but now echoes with hollow reminders of his betrayal. His computer screen flashes with another intelligence report, the third this week. Ruth's shadow operations protecting squad units in hostile territories, each intervention precise, professional, and undeniably her signature style. "She's still out there, still serving," Colonel James Cross whispers to himself, his voice rough with emotion. His fingers trace over the terminal keyboard, hesitating before entering his security credentials. The cameras above whir softly, their red lights blinking in silent witness as he begins typing the true account of Operation Flint Echo. "I, Colonel James Cross, hereby testify to the following events." His hands shake slightly as he records the details he's carried like stones in his gut for months. The mission parameters, the intelligence failure, the convenient scapegoating of his most loyal operative. Every damning word could end his career, but the metallic taste of long-suppressed guilt drives him forward. His phone buzzes, another alert about the total truth unearthed trending on social media. Scattered reports of a phantom soldier protecting American units, combined with leaked fragments of classified documents, have sparked a firestorm of speculation. Colonel James Cross glances at Ruth's photo in her service record, remembering her words during her final briefing. "Loyalty isn't about ranks or ribbons, sir. It's about protecting our own no matter the cost." The security footage uploads in real time as he continues his confession. The decision to erase Operative Callahan was not based on mission failure, but on political expediency. He types each word a step toward redemption. "Her continued actions prove what I failed to understand, that true loyalty transcends official recognition." A sharp knock at his door makes Colonel James Cross start. General Morrison enters without waiting for a response, his face grave. "What the hell are you doing, Cross?" Colonel James Cross straightens in his chair, feeling the weight of Ruth's service record under his hand. "What she taught me to do, sir. The right thing." The camera's red light blinks steadily as he hits send on the report, launching his testimony into the digital ether where it can't be buried. The helicopter rotors fade into distance as Colonel James Cross faces his superior, ready to accept the consequences of choosing truth over power. Drop a 2 if you believe loyalty should outweigh rank, borf truth unearthed. The fluorescent lights of the war room cast harsh shadows across my face as I, Colonel James Cross, stand before the Strategic Command Center's primary display. My fingers trace the cold metal of my eagle insignia, its weight familiar and reassuring against my collar. The pristine silence of military efficiency surrounds me, broken only by the soft hum of surveillance equipment. My domain, my fortress of absolute control. Until her voice shatters everything. Sir Palehawk-2 reporting. Operation Firebreak compromised. The transmission crackles through our secure channel, each word a dagger of impossibility. Ruth Callahan's voice, a ghost I personally erased 2 years ago, now echoes through the command center. My hand freezes on the insignia as younger officers exchange confused glances. Sir... Lieutenant Chen's voice wavers. Should we trace the signal? I straighten my spine, years of command surfacing in my tone. That designation was decommissioned. This is clearly a security breach. But my fingers betray me, trembling slightly as they reach for the console. The screens around me burst into activity, a cascade of data tracking protocols initiating automatically. Impossible, I mutter, watching authentication codes flash green. I signed the papers myself. I ended her career. My voice carries just enough for the room to hear, establishing my authority, even as confusion threatens to crack my facade. The recording equipment whirs to life, standard protocol for all transmissions. But this time the sound sends a chill down my spine. Every word now preserved, every reaction documented. I catch my reflection in the darkened screen-decorated Colonel James Cross, the man who built his career on perfect control, perfect protocol, perfect power. Operation Firebreak is classified Level 6. I announce, my voice steady despite the growing unease. This breach will be contained. I reach for the emergency shutdown protocol, but her voice cuts through again. With respect, Colonel Cross, you can't bury this one like Echo Flint. The room goes deadly silent. Echo Flint, the operation I've spent 2 years erasing from every database, every record, every memory. My hand clenches around the eagle insignia, its edges biting into my palm. A young specialist's tablet chirps. Sir, it's trending. Junk a ghost soldier. Clips of the transmission are already online. My empire of carefully constructed control begins to crack. In the reflection of the main screen, I see not the commanding officer I've crafted, but something else. Something that makes me question every decision that led to this moment. Have I become what I once swore to fight? A bureaucrat valuing protocol over people? The thought circles like a vulture as I watch the hashtag's numbers climb. Each ping of social media alerts sounds like another nail in a coffin I built myself. Initiate full containment protocols. I order, but the words taste like ash. And get me everything we have on Echo Flint. The room erupts into motion, but I remain still, staring at my reflection, beside the streaming data. Colonel James Cross, master of control, watching as a ghost he created returns to tear down his walls. Type control in the comments if you've ever witnessed power crumble. The thought echoes as if the universe itself mocks my predicament. The eagle insignia catches the light, and for a moment I see it not as a symbol of power, but as a weight, one that's grown heavier with each secret, each burial, each erasure. Ruth Callahan's voice plays again in my mind, and for the first time in my career, I feel something I haven't allowed myself to feel in years: doubt. The question isn't if I can maintain control. The question is, what happens when the ghosts we create come back to haunt us? Colonel James Cross adjusts his collar one final time. Before the camera, his once pristine uniform, now bearing the weight of decades of deception. The eagle insignia that had been his shield of authority lies cold and lifeless on the mahogany desk, catching the first rays of dawn filtering through his office windows. I, Colonel James Cross, hereby confess to the systematic erasure of Operative Ruth Callahan following Operation Flint Echo. His voice wavers, decades of practiced authority crumbling like sand. The red recording light blinks steadily, an electronic heartbeat marking each devastating admission. Her service record, which I personally altered, stands as a testament not to her failure, but to mine. The morning sun catches the small brass bullet on his desk, the one marked SV-62, that had appeared mysteriously 3 days ago. Cross's fingers trace its cold surface, remembering how his heart had nearly stopped when he'd found it precisely centered on his morning reports. The same caliber they'd used in Flint Echo, her calling card. For 20 years I convinced myself that protocol demanded her erasure. Cross continues his reflection in the monitor, showing a man he barely recognizes. I told myself that the system's preservation outweighed any individual soldier's sacrifice. I was wrong. The distant notes of taps drift through his window. The morning ceremony he'd attended thousands of times now sounds like an indictment. Each mournful note strips away another layer of his carefully constructed justifications. In the background, his computer chirps with incoming alerts. The hashtag #ToncherCrossConfession is already trending his recorded admission broadcasting across every major network. His hands shake as he reads the comments flooding in each one, a verdict from the court of public opinion. She never stopped serving. Cross's voice breaks. While I hid behind regulations and rank, Ruth Callahan became something I'd forgotten how to be. A true guardian. She protected our operators from the shadows. I'd banished her to saving more lives than our official records will ever show. The security system beeps softly as someone enters the outer office. Cross doesn't need to look up to know it's the MPs. His resignation letter is already signed, his confession complete. The true measure of service isn't in the medals we wear or the records we keep, he says, finally understanding the lesson she'd tried to teach him. It's in the lives we choose to protect, whether anyone knows our names or not. The eagle insignia catches the light one final time as Cross rises to meet his fate. The bullet marked SV-62 disappears from his desk as mysteriously as it had arrived, but its message remains true. Loyalty transcends all rank and recognition. Type honor prevails if you believe truth should outweigh power. In his last official act, Colonel James Cross reaches for his computer, accessing the classified archives with trembling fingers. With a single command, he restores Ruth Callahan's complete service record, 2 decades of hidden heroism finally emerging into the light. The MP's footsteps echo in the hallway as Cross straightens his shoulders one final time. To all those who serve in silence, he whispers to the camera, your sacrifice is no longer invisible. The door opens. The confession ends. And somewhere in the shadows, Ruth Callahan continues her eternal watch, her legacy now secured not by official recognition, but by the very system that once tried to erase her.